Hi there, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 375. I'm Lisa, also known as Fiber Nymph, and today is Sunday, September 26th. It is my birthday eve. Anyway, how you doing? It's been a hot minute since I recorded last. It's almost been 3 weeks, I think. It's been a busy month. September has just been non-stop. It's been one of those months where I've basically put my head down and just not looked up. You know what I mean? You have those times. It's been busy. The next month is probably also going to be busy, but it's okay. It's a good busy, so we'll go with it. But I wanted to record today because I've got lots of things to show you. Despite how much I've been trying to do in all other areas of my life, I've actually gotten a fair bit of knitting done, which is quite exciting. And I've got all kinds of imaginary knitting waiting in the wings too, so we're going to talk about all of that. Before we get started in the meat of the episode, though, I just wanted to do a couple of quick announcements. Number one, since tomorrow is my birthday, I've been running a birthday sale this weekend. It started yesterday and it runs all the way through tomorrow, which is Monday, the 27th. So I'm hoping to get this video up in time so that if you have not already seen about that sale, either on Instagram or Facebook or in my newsletter, which if you're not getting the newsletter, why not? That's how you find out about these things in a more timely manner. Anyway, I'm hoping to get this up so that if you did want to take advantage of the sale, you can. It's a coupon code, birthday20, that gets you 20% off almost anything in the shop except gift certificates and the mix and match minis. Those are the two things that are excluded. But anyway, yeah, so that's going on. Also, just a heads up, save the date for Friday, October 1st, which is this coming up Friday. That's going to be my Halloween shop update. I know I said I was going to do that towards the end of September, and I just logistically could not squeeze it in before the end of the month. So October 1st it is. It seems like a good time to do a Halloween update. More on that in the shop news segment. And lastly, just in case you don't make it to the shop news segment, and if you are in the Encore Yarn and Fiber Club, the first shipment will be shipping out this week, no later than Thursday. So that's all happening. And I just want to let you know about that up front, and we'll talk more about those things as we get to the shop news segment. But before that, I've got lots of 90% stuff to talk to you about. So we're going to get into the finished objects because yes, I have 4. Oh my gosh, 4 finished objects. That's crazy. And my show notes, which is why I'm looking down. Anyway, I just wanted to also say before I get into my projects, I'm going to be mentioning the Pigskin Party an awful lot because I am participating in that. So I just thought I would give you an overarching little insight into that in case you're new or you haven't heard of the Pigskin Party before. The Pigskin Party is a knit along, crochet along, weave along, like it's fiber arts related, sponsored every fall by Jen from the Down Cellar Studio podcast. Jen has that podcast, and this is an event that she's done every year for, oh my gosh, I want to say at least 7 years maybe. For my shop, Fiber Nymph Dye Works, I am one of the pro shop sponsors for that, but the last couple of years I've also been participating in it as well. And you can earn points by projects that you do, and if you're using sponsor items, you get extra points. It's just a good bit of fun. So anyway, as I refer to the Pigskin Party throughout talking about my projects, you'll at least know what I'm talking about. And I just realized I did not bring anything in with me to drink. So if I start getting froggy, I might need to put things on pause and go grab some water or something. Anyway, let's get started. I will put links to like the Pigskin Party stuff. I'll put links to that in case you want to check it out. In fact, I would invite you to do that. It's never too late to join in. It runs all through the NFL season. So from now through February, whenever the Super Bowl is. You do not have to be a big football fan or any kind of football fan to participate in this. Trust me. I don't really watch football anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore. Okay, so let's go into projects. I've got socks to show you. And the first pair of socks that is now finished are my No Place Like Home socks. So, as I said, I am a pro shop sponsor for the Pigskin Party, and this is my exclusive colorway for this year's event. So it's called No Place Like Home, self-striping, obviously. This sock was already done. it was started before the beginning of the pigskin party, so I can't count this one as a finished object, but we are allowed to use single socks, so the second sock will qualify as a finished object. And the way I'm doing that is I've got a few different pairs of socks that I had started the first sock before the pigskin party started, but I'm doing the second one during it. So I have one project basically that's all second socks. So this is the second one. I can tell because I didn't want to waste any of the yarn. I finished on this red, this color here, because you need me to point out that that's a color, red. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I didn't want to wind off a whole other almost full repeat to start at the next repeat of red. So I just started where I left off. So there's about 2 rows difference in the second sock versus the first sock, and you can tell the toe's a little bit more red on this one. Not a big deal. That doesn't bother me at all. I did, however, wind off after my heel flap before starting the gusset. I did wind off so that I was back to the right spot to keep the front of the sock in the right order. So that's another reason I didn't want to waste any more yarn by winding any more off. Anyway, so this pair is finished. The colorway is on my bounce base. And I used US 1 needles. It's just my plain vanilla sock pattern that I use almost all the time for socks. You know, a little bit of ribbing at the top. I do 2x1 rib normally, stockinette, and then a heel flap, a slip stitch, heel flap and gusset, stockinette, and just a regular, you know, decreased toe. Wedge toe, is that what it's called? I don't know. It's the same toe I've been doing for years and years and years, pretty much on all my socks. So there you go. First finished object. And again, that's the No Place Like Home colorway, which is available in my shop. It's all as a dye to order though, so you won't get it immediately. It'll take a few weeks to get to you, but you'll get it in time to use it for the pigskin party. Okay, that was the first finished object for you. The second one is a sock that I showed you last time, and it was one of my new fall colorways. And it was my Autumn Palette Pie. I believe this was the first sock, and now the second sock is also done. And again, this is one of those cases where the first sock was started prior to the beginning of the pigskin party, and so the second sock is the only one that will count for that. And yeah, this was the first one. This is the second one. Not that it really matters. This is also on my bounce base, and it's called Autumn Palette Pie. So it's one of my pie colorways. As you can see, the socks do not match up. A single skein of pie yarn will not match up because the striping pattern goes according to the numeric sequence in the number pi. It's one of those weird nerdy things. Anyway, yeah, so this one's done too, and now I can start wearing them. I am so excited that it is now sock season, like hand knit sock and sweater season. Oh, actually, this was not Bounce. This was Traveler. I'm sorry. This was my Traveler base, which is my sport weight base. So this was done on US 1.5 needles, 1.5s, on Traveler. Sorry. I don't think I said that. Okay, so those are the 2 finished pairs of socks. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. But there's more. I have 2 other things that are also finished, and they're hats. The first one, I don't think you even saw this one cast on. I think I've done this since we last spoke. This is, the colorway may look familiar because this is the colorway that I used to make the Erica cowl, which I will put a picture in here since I didn't bring it in with me, that I knit over the summer. And the colorway, the yarn is from Knitter's Brewworks, or no, Knitter's Brewing Company. It's their Sock-aholic Brewski base in the Woolly Friends colorway. Gosh, I'm sorry. I could look at my notes because I probably have it written down. Anyway, this was Knitter's Brewing Company's exclusive Pigskin Party colorway last year, which I had purchased 2 skeins of, then did not get to use it during last year's Pigskin Party. So I'm using it this year. They are a sponsor again, so the colorway counts as a sponsor item, just not an exclusive sponsor item. You get more points for exclusive sponsor items. Anyway, so this is called the Sagamore Flyover Hat, and the pattern is by Jennifer Lassonde, who again, hosts the Pigskin Party. So points for all that. But when I made that cowl this summer, I wanted to use the leftover yarn because I only used one skein for the cowl. And I thought, well, okay, I'll do a hat during this year's Pigskin Party that will go with the cowl. And I had originally thought I would just sort of try to make something up on my own to mimic the patterning in the cowl, but then I decided, and Jen had just put out this pattern, so I thought this would be a good option. It's sort of like a broken rib kind of pattern, I would say. It was super easy. The pattern is actually written for a bulky weight yarn. So my modification was I went down to this worsted or Aran weight yarn. I'll put it on. It'll mess up my hair, but honestly, my hair is pretty wonky today anyway, so I like it. It fits great. It's kind of like the perfect fit for me for a hat. I really like this kind of beanie that's just got a teeny bit of slouch in there, but not a lot. So anyway, I did that on US 5 and 8 needles. I was going to do 5s and 7s because that's what I normally use when I make hats out of worsted weight, but this is actually a little heavier than worsted. It's technically considered an Aran weight. So I did the first couple rounds of the patterning. You won't be able to tell, but I did the first couple rounds of the body of the hat on a 7, and I realized, maybe I should go up to an 8 just to get a better fabric. So I'm really happy with it on the 8. Worked out great. I'm thrilled with having another hat. Then I've got another finished hat, which you will remember that I had started a Mammillaria hat by Sarah Jordan. However, the one that I'm going to show you is not the Mammillaria hat that I had originally started. I don't know what I did with the original one. I just sort of broke it off the ball of yarn when I realized I wasn't digging it. Okay, so originally I started it on a fingering weight yarn of mine called River Rocks, which Sarah designed that hat using a fingering weight yarn of mine that was self-striping, and it looked really cool. It's a bubble design, and so it looked really neat with the self-striping. However, what I wasn't loving about it, not the pattern, but the way mine was turning out, is number one, it had a folded up brim, which isn't really my jam for brims. I do like ribbing for my brim, but that wasn't the biggest deal. It was not really showing off the bubble pattern at all on the self-striping that I was using, and I think it was because it was a very wee stripe, like really narrow stripes. So I thought, well, maybe it would show off better if I use a wider striped yarn, because the one that Sarah had designed the pattern with was a wider stripe. So I decided I would, just start over using a different yarn. However, I also realized that I really don't love wearing fingering weight hats. I've made a few over the years, and they've never been my favorite hats. I much more prefer a heavier weight hat. So I went into my stash and I got a skein of my Bona Fide base, which is that I had hanging out. You can't really tell that this is self-striping too much. I mean, you can see the gray. Those are gray. It's a gray stripe. And then there was a variegated stripe. And this was one of my Serendipitous striping patterns that I did, I don't know, earlier this year. But I thought, you know what? I really like these colors and I want to try it. And I also realized that I didn't think I was doing the bubble stitch correctly. I was following Sarah's directions as I was interpreting them, but I wasn't getting what I thought it was supposed to look like on the original one that I was doing on the fingering weight. So I went and I watched Stephen West's bubble stitch video again, because I had watched it prior to working the hat, to starting the hat, but I was clearly not doing it right. And I realized what I was doing wrong after I watched that. Whenever you do the bubble stitch, you go for the bubble itself. You can see this kind of elongated stitch there. You're going down into a stitch 4 stitches below, and that is what creates the bubble, except I was doing that, but I was also knitting it together with the live stitch instead of dropping that live stitch. That was a huge error because you don't get the patterning. It's just sort of flat. It's, weird. Anyway, so since I knew what I had to do on this one, I did it. And you can see the patterning. Let me see. I'm going to put this on for you. It's obviously not as striking as it would be. Let me see, is the light, yeah, you can, I mean, if you look at the top, you can see there are bubbles there. I can see it in person a little bit better, but it's not nearly as vivid a contrast as it would be if you were doing different colored segments for all of the bubble rows, which is how a lot of bubble patterns are written and how it works if you're using a wider striping yarn. I just was not doing that. So I really like this hat. Again, this is another one that fits exactly the way I like a hat to fit. It's got that little bit of slouch up here, but not too much. And I do like the ribbing more than the turned up brim. So that was a modification I made. And obviously I modified it from going from a fingering weight up to a DK weight. Did I do anything else? I don't think so. The top of this hat is really precious. I just love this. She had, Sarah put in, I'm going to use her name, Sarah put in a really fun technique where you do these pleats as you do your, before you start your decreases. And I wasn't sure how that was going to work out on a DK weight yarn. And it definitely is bulkier than it was with the fingering weight. Like if you look at her pattern page and you look at the top of her hat, they lay really flat. The pleats would lay super flat. That's not the case with this. I didn't block this either, but even if it was blocked, I don't think you would get that same flatness just because it's a bulkier yarn. But I really like it. I love how it looks. I just think it's super neat. I did get this little boompy there. I kind of thought, well, maybe I could put like a pom-pom on, but I'm not a big fan of pom-poms on my hats either. Another thing I've learned over the years. And when I have it on, I don't really care, but that's there. It's just basically a nice, cozy hat. It's got a fun texture. I am not through with bubbles though. Like I really want to make something that is made with contrasting bubbled stripes, like one of Stephen West's projects that he has. He's got shawls and sweaters and cowls and what have you that involve bubbles. So I have the feeling that one of those is going to be in my future. But at least I got the hang of the bubble pattern. It's funny though, I realized at one point, I think it was on my second row of bubbling, that I must have gotten distracted, and like the last few places that I was supposed to have done some bubbling, I totally didn't. I guess it was on the third one. And so I had to go back in and I just used some scrap yarn and kind of fake bubbled it and like cinched those areas together. So it still has the bubble effect on the outside, but it's totally fake. Whatever. It's a hat and I can wear it and I like it. So again, that is basically, it's the Mammillaria hat pattern by Sarah Jordan with several modifications to make it more what I wanted it to be. So anyway, there you go. What else do we have going on here? Those are my 4 finished objects. So 2 pair of socks, 2 hats, not bad, right? I did work on another pair of socks. Let's see, where are they? I've got so many project bags sitting next to me. I also pulled out a whole bunch of my Halloween project bags. Isn't this one adorable? This is a Bags by Austin Granny bag that I bought last year and then never ended up using because last year I wasn't really going anywhere. And when I just work at home, I often don't even stick my stuff in project bags. I'll use a basket or something to keep everything in. So I'm using them this year. This is a pair of socks that I started earlier this year. I was gonna, in August sometime. It was probably before we went on our, it's before we went somewhere. Before we went to Maine, maybe? No. I don't know. It was before one of our trips. If it was in August, though, it must have been Maine. No, because we just went to Maine. It must have been before we went to Michigan. I don't know. Oh my gosh, my brain. I can't remember anything right now. But anyway, this is another one of my Serendipitous stripes colorways that I dyed this year. Just really bright colors. So some dark gray and light gray stripes with just this variegated stripe in between. And it's a shortish sock. I started it on the trip and then, or maybe right before the trip, and I didn't work on it very much on the trip, which I hardly ever work on things very much on my trips. And and then it sat around and I hadn't really worked on it, so I pulled it out. This is still the first sock, so obviously this one is not going to count in the pigskin party. Both of those hats do count for the pigskin party though. I have not logged any of my pigskin party projects yet. I have to sit down and do that. There's a form that you have to complete for each item. Just haven't had time. Anyway, so this first sock will not count, but when I do the second sock, it will count as a pigskin party project. So anyway, but this is fingering weight yarn. This is my, this is the bronzed sparkle base. I'm not sure how much you'll be able to see the bronze sparkle, because the bronze sparkle, as opposed to the silver stellina, the bronze stellina is very subtle. I can see it here in person, but it's probably not going to show up super well on the camera. You can kind of get that glint though every once in a while. Okay, so it's just, I'm doing this one as a 2x2 rib over 60 stitches as opposed to my normal plain vanilla stockinette ones. And same thing, my favorite heel, slip stitched heel flap and gusset. And I have a little bit further to go before I get to the toe, and then I can cast on the second one. So that is one of the sock projects that I'm working on right now. What else? I'm sort of just flying through these things. Oh, then I have some new cast-ons. Because apparently whenever you finish a whole bunch of things, you have to cast on a whole bunch of things too. Which bag is this in? Okay, I think it's in this one. I do not remember what shop I got this bag from, but I think it's so cool. I probably got it on Etsy. I could probably go back and look, but I don't know. Anyway, it's fun, like Ouija board kind of bag. So this is the yarn that I had been doing that original Mammillaria hat out of. So this is my Mountain Tweed BFL base in the River Rocks colorway. And like I said, I did just kind of snap off the project. I haven't even ripped it out yet. But these socks are probably going to be able to be finished with just what's here. I will recoup that yarn eventually once I find it. I don't know where I put it. This is an anomaly for me with sock knitting though, because as you know, if you've watched the podcast for any amount of time, you know my default sock is a plain vanilla sock, whether it's a plain vanilla stockinette or a plain vanilla ribbed sock. I don't do patterned socks, hardly ever. I used to, like a long time ago, I used to do patterned socks, and then I got away from them because I really like self-striping, and usually self-striping is enough to just keep me entertained, and I don't really need, you know, the patterning. However, I'm being a copycat because I was watching the Stitch in Time podcast with Carol a week or two ago, and she showed a pair of socks that she's knitting out of this same yarn, and it's a patterned sock, and I said, I love how that looks. And I said, I think I'm going to copycat. And I am. So this is the Heel Toe Do-Si-Do sock pattern by Kay Litton, who is the Crazy Sock Lady. And this is the design. And I just love it. I think it's so much fun, and it's perfect for self-striping. She designed it with self-striping in mind. So this is the front of the sock, and then the back is just stripes, plain stockinette. So that's kind of fun too, because then you get both the patterning and the plain self-striping in the sock. So this is as long as I'm making this cuff. It's not as long as some of my socks that I make, but it's definitely longer than a shortish sock. So I am on the heel flap right now. To be honest, I have not read Kay's directions for the heel flap. I'm just doing my own thing, but I am using her patterning for this, and it's so much fun. It's just a 2-row repeat, super easy to memorize, and I'm having so much fun with it. So how about that? Look at me doing a patterned sock. Maybe I'll do more. So again, this is my River Rocks colorway, Mountain Tweed BFL. I am obviously not doing any contrasting heels. I think Carol's putting a contrasting heel and toe in hers. I'm just doing the whole skein, same colorway. So anyway, by the way, I did not mention what I'm wearing. This is my Soldat Nut Crop that I made a few years back. This is my Beguiled base, which is my sparkly DK weight base. So outside the winey color and the blue color, I don't actually dye those two colorways anymore. They're sort of retired, but the other colors are sand and silver gray in there. So anyhow, it's cool enough that I'm wearing sweaters. Did I already mention that? Makes me so happy. Sweater weather, hand knit sock weather. It's amazing. All right, so that was a new cast on, that sock. What else? I've also cast on 2 other pairs of socks. However, my excuse for doing those is that they are samples for 2 new colorways. And both of these colorways will be in the shop update on Friday. So, but you can see them now. I don't have them on sock blockers because they're just kind of started. But here's the first one. So this is called Gothic Forest, and this is my new Halloween colorway for this year. So this is a progression of going from black to a very dark moody purple to a lighter moody purple and then to a lighter purple. And in between every 2 rows, you've got this color that I have to tell you, I am enthralled with. I love this color so, so much. It's a custom blended color that I came up with, and I'm calling it Harvest Moon, and you're going to see a little bit more of this later on. But it's the Harvest Moon stripe. And you guys, we just had a full moon last week, and it was the Harvest Moon. And all the way leading up to the full moon, every night when I would get up in the middle of the night, because I get up in the middle of the night a lot, I'd look out the window and see it, and it was always that orangey color that moons take on sometimes. I don't know what was going on that it was like that almost the whole time I saw it this last moon cycle, but wow, I loved it. So that was what I was going after. So this is what this is. It's just this really kind of eerie, orangey, almost has sort of a green tinge to it, this golden orangey color for the moon. So Gothic Forest. That will be in the shop. I'm doing it on the bedazzled base, and actually my daughter was like, I really like that color, so these socks will be for her. But for right now, they're just the colorway sample for that colorway, so you'll see that in the shop listing if you look at the shop listing. So that's one of the new socks, and again, plain vanilla. I'm not going to go through it all. US 1 needles. And then I think the other one's in here, maybe? Oh, this is a bat bag. Whose is this? Is there a name on here? I don't know. Oh, yes, there is. Bead Sisters. I think they might be a Pigskin Party sponsor. I'll have to look, because then I can get extra points for using their bag, too. I don't know. Maybe not, though. But I like the sparkly bead. Look at the bats. They're real sparkly. They're fun. Okay, so then the next sock sample is in this bag, which I got 2 years ago, and I don't think I've really used it either. Isn't it fun? This is a Toad Hollow bag. I got it the year that I vended at New Jersey Sheep and Wool. I did not vend there this year because I'm not vending right now. But anyway, this is another colorway it's sort of a new Halloween colorway for me. It's new as a self-striping. I don't think I've done this as a self-striping. I have done this as a mini skein set before, though. So it's called, I honestly don't know what I'm calling it yet. I keep calling it Halloweenish because it is obviously Halloweenish. But it might just be bright Halloween stripes. So there's those 4 bright colors with the black stripe in the middle. So you'll recognize it in the shop, though, based on these colors, even if I'm not 100% sure what I'm calling it yet. So this is just the other one. And I think I was just going to do this as a sample and, you know, put ribbing at the bottom and bind it off. And I thought, you know what, they're kind of fun. I think I'm just going to make myself Halloween socks. So this will be a pair of Halloween socks for me. So there we go. And that is on my Bounce base. So, and again, US 1 needles, plain vanilla sock. Same old, same old. Okay, I think that's all the socks. Oh no, that's not all the socks. Oh my gosh. I have cast on one other pair of socks. It's also in this nice big bag because this bag's big enough for multiple pairs of socks. So on the 22nd, September 22nd is Hobbit Day. And if you are a Lord of the Rings fan, like myself, or maybe not quite as obsessed, maybe you don't know, September 22nd every year is is Hobbit Day, because it is both Frodo and Bilbo Baggins' birthday in Lord of the Rings. And so I purchased a skein of yarn earlier this year from Knit Spin Farm. I hand wound this. Ugh, I suddenly have fluff in my mouth. I hand wound this ball the other morning because I was going to celebrate Hobbit Day, and I just wanted to touch this yarn. Let's see, I have the ball band in here. So Knit Spin Farm, and it is her Targhee Sport, which is 90% superwash Targhee, 10% nylon, and this is a pretty big skein. It's 115 grams, 350 yards. It's a pretty beefy sport weight, I gotta say, because I'm using 1.5 needles, which is what I usually use for sport weight, and I think I could have actually gone up to maybe 2s for this, but it's fine. It's just going to be a very, very dense sock, but check it out. Isn't it awesome? This is a shortish sock, so that's as long as it is, and now I've got my heel flaps started here. But the 5 stripe colors in it, this dark color here. Okay, here, I have to get this so I don't goof this up. Okay, so this tannish color here is a shortcut to mushrooms. And then this dark menacing green she has on here is Fanghorn Forest. And then this darker green here is the Green Dragon. This bright green is Hobbiton. And then this really pale color, which I know it sort of looks white here because it's blowing out, but it's a very, very pale, pale green. That is Lorien. So it's perfect. It's perfect. It was the perfect way to enjoy my morning on Hobbit Day. And you know, I started watching Fellowship of the Rings again while I worked on this because, of course, I did. So, anyway, I bought that earlier this year and I was saving it specifically to cast on Hobbit Day. So, there you have it. Okay, I think that's all the socks now. My gosh, that was a lot of socks. I don't usually have that many pairs of socks on the needles at the same time anymore. I used to, but I've become reformed. Actually, that's all of the projects that I've got on the go right now that I'm actively working on. I do have a new project that I'm really close to starting. I just dyed the yarn for it, and I have to go over here to get it behind you, so hang on a second. Okay. I did print the pattern out, although I did not print the first page out that has all, like, the huge picture on it. So I will show you this one. Paper stand still. It's the Love Notes pullover, and I printed it in black and white, so the picture isn't super clear, I guess. But I think everyone and their uncle has probably knit a Love Notes pullover, except me. And part of it is it calls for a light fingering held together with a silk mohair. And I've kind of been iffy about doing that because I'm not sure how comfortable I will feel wearing mohair. I mean, I love my fluff base. It's very soft. I've made at least one scarf out of it, and I've made some other things with it where I've held it double, like with hats and mitts and things like that, and it feels fine. But it's not even like I'm worried about how it'll feel. I'm just worried about how hot it's going to be because I tend to run a little bit warm. But when I was dyeing up yarn for this shop update coming up, I decided I had to make something for myself out of this one colorway. And it is Harvest Moon. So it's that same color that's in that stripe on the sock that I just showed you. This will be in the shop, by the way. But this is my Sunshine base, so it's light fingering weight. And this is my fluff mohair silk. And I can't wait to have this sweater. I think it's going to be beautiful. So I'm going to give it a try, and hopefully I will get some wear out of it. I love this color so much. I know as a dyer, maybe I'm not supposed to love some of my colorways more than others, but this one just tickles me. Not like literally, but like the color itself just tickles me. So Harvest Moon, and it will become a Love Notes pullover. So I've got the pattern, I've got the yarn, I need to read through the pattern, make sure I know what I'm doing. I probably should swatch, but I probably won't because I like to live on the edge. We'll see. Anyway, that is my one thing that is definitely an up-and-coming project and will hopefully be cast on before I talk to you next. I do have other patterns that I have recently purchased because I really want to be knitting other things besides just socks and hats. So let me reach for these. One of them is something that I already mentioned to you, and it's the Bubble Shawl by Stephen West. I really want to give that a go because I really want to play with different colors, doing that bubble motif in different colors. I don't think I'm going to do it the way this pattern calls for it. I know, go figure. I'm going to use up scraps, I'm pretty sure, and just do a lot of different colored stripes and then just one color, you know, I'll have a consistent color for the border. But yeah, I think that's going to be like a stash buster, a leftovers kind of stash buster project. So we'll see when I get that started. Then I have two other tops. The one is, it's one that's everybody, again, it's another one that everybody seems to be making different versions of. And this is the Anchors Cardigan by Petite Knit. And again, I printed it out in black and white, so I'm not sure if you can see it. I don't know how many of you might remember the Shalom cardigan. Do you remember that sweater? I made one for myself many years ago. I still have it. I don't wear it very often because I made it in some crazy weird colors. But I made one for Emma too, and hers was really pretty and it looked nice on her. I don't think she has it anymore. But anyway, that's what this reminds me of, this patterning up at the top of this sweater. And again, since it's in black and white, you really can't see it super well. Yeah, anyway. I think I'm going to make this out of some hand spun. I've got a couple of sweater lots of hand spun, and I would like to try making that. Now, I'm not 100% sure if my hand spun is the right gauge, will give me the right gauge for this. So that I probably will do some swatching to play with that. But that is my current thought for this. And if it doesn't work with that, oh my gosh, I've got so many sweater lots of yarn. I'll find something. So that's one. And then the other one is one that I never thought that I would want to make for myself, but I have now seen a few different versions of this, and I think it is so cool. And it's the sweater that's called, well, I'm not even sure if it's a sweater. It's a pullover. It's called Look at My Holes. Have you guys seen this? The designer is James N. Watts, and this is what it looks like. It's just a really open work, lacy crop top. I will probably not make it quite that cropped. I'll probably make it a little bit longer. But I am able to envision this on myself, weirdly enough, because it's so far out of my wheelhouse of things. But you know what? Now, they're wearing it with this, can you see this little tank top, which is designed by Jessie Made Designs, and it's called the As Friends tank. I'm not gonna knit that. I'm envisioning making this, number one, I'm envisioning using some black yarn. I think it's cotton. I can't find it at the moment. I bought it at Walmart. I don't even remember what brand it is, but it was a cotton, and I bought it specifically because it was black cotton and it was soft. I think it's cotton. Maybe it's not cotton. If I find it, that would be helpful. It's been pushed around so much. I bought it in black, and I bought it in like a turquoisey, a bright turquoisey blue. At least a year ago, if not longer. And I think I bought one of the colors to make something with for Emma, and then I never made it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm picturing it in the black and being able to wear it over top of other things, even like long sleeve things. I think it would look really cool in the winter, because it's obviously not going to be warm between the holes and just being short sleeve and sort of short. I mean, kind of like this, although this is DK weight and it's color work, so it's actually surprisingly warm. Who's made them? Tommy from Moonstone Dye Works podcast. She's made one. The Woolen Forest podcast, Maria, she's made one. She had one on her podcast this week. I feel like there was somebody else recently that I saw making one. I don't know. It's just, it's like I said, it's so different than anything that I would ever think to make for myself. But I'm like, why not? Why not try it? Like, what's the worst that could happen? I don't like it and I have to rip it back out. Like, I've never done that before. I don't know. So those are 4 things, 4 patterns that are on my radar right now. And the Love Note, I'm pretty sure, is definitely going to get cast on soon, though. So tell me what you think of these patterns. Like, are they any of the ones, have you made any of them? Are you interested in making any of them? I would love to know. Or if not those, like, what's something else that's like just really like in your brain that you want to make? Go ahead. Give me ideas, because clearly I need to cast on all the things right now. All right. Let's move on. We're going to talk about the Nature Make-Alongs right now. We are almost to the end of the 3rd quarter of the Nature Make-Along this year, which is the C segment of it. So that runs through the end of September. So if you're working on your projects, and hopefully you'll get them finished up and you can submit your form and get those entered. And then the next time I record, I will draw a prize for C, both for the chatter thread and the finished objects that were submitted with the submission form. But then October 1st, which is Friday, that will start our last quarter. It'll run October and November, and that theme is sky. So anything having to do with the sky, things you see in the sky, the colors the sky takes on, what you see when you look up at the sky, things that live in the sky, celestial bodies, whatever. Like, all of these themed segments of this make-along, as long as you can tell me how it ties in with the theme, it works. So a pattern that's related to the sky theme, you tell me. Birds fly in the sky, so you could extrapolate and get into birds, like when you look up at the trees in the sky, you know, use your imagination. But anyway, that's what's happening right now with that. And thinking ahead, I am thinking about what I want to do next year. And I think next year, I'm not going to do the Nature Make-Along again, obviously. That was just for this year. Next year, I think, is going to be kind of a low-key year for make-alongs. I'm not sure what I want to do yet, but I don't think it's going to be a whole year-long make-along next year. I'll have more to say about that as we get closer to the end of the year, but I need a break. I'll be honest with you. I need a break from running year-long make-alongs for right now. But I really enjoy the chatter and the community that we've built up over the last several years doing year-long make-alongs. So hopefully we can hang on to that without having to have like a really hard and fast make-along driving it. So anyway, that's just kind of a thought that I was having, and I wanted to mention it. I do have one new thing, well, actually a couple of new things, but it's all from the same shop to share with you. I have to reach, hang on. Okay. I was on Etsy one day browsing like you do, and I found these absolutely adorable stitch markers, and it's from a shop that I've never purchased from before. It's called Bandit Fiber Co. And I haven't taken them out of the packages yet. Here, I will do that. Here's how they come, though. They come in these super cute little packages. And I know these are just tied. They're not actually sealed, but because they're tied and I don't want to have to untie them, I am going to just sort of... Nope, maybe I'm not going to tear them because they don't tear. Okay, I will undo the bow. This was not good planning. Anyway, I bought 2 different sets of stitch markers, and the first one was a set of Halloween stitch markers that are so cute. Okay, let me get them out of here. Here they are. So there's a ghost, a jack-o'-lantern, a witch's hat, or a wizard's hat, maybe, and a bat. Aren't they cute? I love them so much. Bandit Fiber Co. And then the other one, this was a really interesting listing. It was a a listing for these tree markers, and there was a whole bunch of them, and it was like, you don't pick which ones you get. It's just sort of a mix and match thing. You order them, and then they pick a variety of the different markers for you. I can't get the bow off of this one. Hang on. There we go. And there's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6. And then you can choose whether you want them to be ring markers or progress keepers, like lobster claw progress keepers, or you can have half and half. And I chose the half and half option. So here they are, and they are just so neat. See all the different trees with the different backgrounds? I think they're so cool. So I got 3 that were ring markers and 3 that are progress keepers. And I just love these trees. They remind me like tree of life kind of things, which I have some tree of life tattoo kind of stuff going on me. So that's my jam. But anyway, I just thought they were really pretty. So I got those. And then along with that, they sent me an extra, which is just a little fall leaf as a free gift. So really fun. And the only other new thing that I got was I treated myself again. Hobbit Day. There's a new audio version of Lord of the Rings out that is narrated by Andy Serkis. It's amazing. I purchased The Fellowship of the Rings, and I am enjoying it so much. I've read the books, like actual physical books. I've read the books several times. I've listened to the other audio version that was narrated by Rob Inglis, and it was fine. I really am enjoying Andy Serkis's version better, though. His voicing is just, it's really good. Yeah, it's really good. Anyway, I have been just indulging in that because it makes me so happy. So that's my other new thing, which obviously is not knitting related, except I do listen to it while I'm knitting or while I'm working. So I guess it's sort of knitting tangential. Okay, so that is everything for 90%. I'm going to jump into shop news now. First of all, again, my birthday weekend sale is going on now through the whole day Monday. So Monday at 11:59 p.m. it'll be done, the 27th. So that is 20% off almost everything in the shop using the coupon code birthday20. The only things that are excluded are gift certificates and the mix and match minis. Those are not included. But everything else that's in the shop, even if it's already on sale, or if it's a die to order, there's not a ton of die to order options in there right now. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But whatever's in the shop, other than that, you can use that coupon code on. Excuse me. The Encore Yarn and Fiber Club, the first shipment of that is going to be going out this week. It'll be shipped by Thursday, so you can be watching your email for your shipping notices if you're in that club. Okay, so now the next regular shop update is happening this Friday, October 1st, and it is my Halloween update. I will say it's probably going to be my only Halloween update, so you might want to jump into the shop for that if you are interested in Halloween colorways. I will talk a little bit more about what's going to be happening throughout the rest of October in a minute, but first I'm going to show you what's going into the shop. You've already seen a few of the things because they're related to projects that I'm working on. So the first thing is my Gothic Forest colorway, which I showed you is knitting up like this. So here, I'll turn it so that the string isn't hanging in front of it. Gothic Forest. Okay, and all of the self-striping yarns will be on multiple bases. Limited quantities, but multiple bases. Okay, so that's Gothic Forest. And then the Halloween Brights, the Halloweenish. There you go. That's what that looks like. I know this is blowing out. This is a green. It's that toxic green color. It's kind of looking blown out and yellow, but it's really green. All right. So that's another one. And then the other two are colorways that I have done before. This is my Dark and Stormy colorway, which I will put a picture right here of a pair of socks that I made out of that. I would have brought the socks, but I've worn them and they don't look super awesome anymore. I mean, they're fine. They don't have holes in them or anything, but you know, I'll put the nice pretty picture in here of what Dark and Stormy knits up as. So that's Dark and Stormy. And then the last self-striping colorway, regular self-striping colorway, is Halloween Pie, Hallow Pie. And again, I will put a picture here of what that knits up like too. Again, multiple bases, so you'll have choices. Okay, next up, I've got some Halloween inversibles for you. So we've got the traditional black and orange inversibles. I do those every year. So those will be up. I'm going to have inversibles, again, limited quantities, but they will be on Bounce, Bedazzled, and Cozy. So this is actually my worsted weight, superwash worsted. I love doing inversibles on Cozy because they're great for heavier weight things like mitts, or you can do the cowl or a hat in the 2 different colors. I think it's a lot of fun. So they will be on all 3. All of these inversibles will be on all 3 of those bases. So the regular black, orange, and then I did up dark gray, which this is a soot, my soot color, and the toxic green, which I just think is so fun for Halloween. And then I've got the colors from Gothic Forest. I have one of the darker purples and Harvest Moon. I just think that's such a fun combination. So these are both tonal colors as opposed to semi-solids, which are in my other inversibles usually. But I just thought this was a lovely combination. So those will be going in. And then, as I already showed you, I will have Harvest Moon on Sunshine and on Fluff. But I've also done the Goth Purple on Sunshine and Fluff, and because I'm apparently obsessed with this color also, that just blows out, Toxic Green on Sunshine and Fluff. But I mean, look at these colors together. Like, I know the light in here is blowing that green out. It's not quite that neon, but like, I think they look so cool together. Or even like this together with that. Oh my gosh, I just think it's so much fun. I haven't done it yet, but I'm hoping before Friday to dye up the dark gray also on Sunshine and Fluff, because oh my gosh, putting those together, amazing, absolutely amazing. So those will definitely be in the shop. Now the other thing that I'm hoping, I just tossed them on my bed behind you. The other thing I am hoping to dye up, which I haven't dyed yet, is mini skeins in these colors. I would like to do a mini skein set of my Halloween Brights with the black in there as well. I usually do those every year. I just have not had time yet. So I'm hoping to get those done this year before Friday. Check the shop. If you see them there, they're there. What else did I want to tell you? That's everything. I'm pretty sure that's everything. I may have a couple of odd bits that are going in the shop along with that I've just been collecting, but that's all of the Halloween stuff. Now, like I said before, this is my only Halloween update that I'm doing this year. I will try to add some additional like restock items to the shop, depending on what might sell out. But I am not planning any other regular shop updates for the month of October. October, I've learned through experience, I need to just set October aside and dedicate it pretty much to taking care of any dye-to-order items that I've got out there. But I mainly spend October working on the holiday mini sets. And that's what I'm doing this year. I am taking October to work on those, finish them up, and have them ready to ship out by November 5th. I love doing the holiday mini sets, but in past years, I've tried to do that as well as keep up with like regular shop updates. And it's nuts. I can't do it. I know what my limits are, and I'm finally, for once in my life, going to stick with my limits. So that being said, I will put up extra things in the shop throughout the month of October. The best way to know about them is to either subscribe to my newsletter. That's the best way to know about anything going on in the shop, sales included. Or follow Instagram or the Facebook page, but whatever's on the Facebook page has been posted through Instagram. So those are the best ways to find out what's going on. Other than like when I record, I'll be happy to tell you about things, but I'm not going to be recording multiple times this month. It'll be a couple times. So anyway, that's October. That said, also, I'm putting a hold on taking on any more custom orders for the month of October, other than things that are in the shop that are listed as die to order. There's not that many. The Pigskin Party colorway is one, though. That I will still continue to take orders for, but there's not going to be too many other things that I will be able to do. And also, like, if you see a Halloween colorway or one of my fall colorways that you want, I'm happy to do them for you as long as you do not necessarily want them for Halloween. You know, if you email me or whatever, I'll let you know. But I would prefer to just take October off from taking on any new special orders, and then once November gets here and I get the holiday mini sets out, the winter magical sets or collections, I will be happy to start taking those orders again. Then at the beginning of November, I will be starting to do my holiday colorways, my Christmas colorways. So you can be watching for that, but not in October. Okay, what else? I think that's everything that I was going to tell you about in the shop. It's a busy month, and I'm feeling really good about where I'm at with everything, but I'm being so good this year, and I'm not taking on extra things that I know I can't do. All right. So that brings us to the end and my 10% and what's bringing me joy. And I have to say, the biggest thing that's bringing me joy right now are quiet moments, because there's not a lot of them, and I'm cherishing them when I can find them. Just my quiet moment, including sleep. Oh my gosh, there are some nights that, like, by 8 o'clock I'm in here and I tell Bill I'm going to come in the bedroom and I'm going to knit for a while, and half the time I just lay down in the bed and I never even pick up knitting because I'm too tired. Yeah. And then the other thing that's bringing me joy right now is just indulging in comfort things. Like I said, like Lord of the Rings, that is a comfort thing for me. It's like the mashed potatoes of movie viewing for me. So like listening to that, watching that, and just being happy in my sweaters and my socks and everything. And the weather's been great. It's not even getting out of the 60s, I don't think, for the next couple of weeks. So I'm very happy to be just enjoying the comforts. I hope you guys are enjoying some comforts of the seasons too. What is it that's comfortable for you? Like, what is that comfort thing for you that you like give into? Not give into, 'cause I don't think it should be something we have to give into. I think we need to like take care of ourselves that way, like allow ourselves those moments of just quiet and comfort. And it doesn't maybe have to be for long, but like, what is it that does that for you? I would love to know. Please share it in the comments. Anyway, that's everything. I'll have links to all the stuff that I've talked about in the show notes below. There will be timestamps. Feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Then you'll know whenever I do record. Yeah, and if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about and I don't cover it in the show notes, feel free to email me. That's the best way to get a hold of me. Email at, or fibernymph@gmail.com. My gosh. Okay, I'm going to go, and I will talk to you guys again, hopefully in the next like week and a half, I'm going to say. And until then, enjoy whatever you're doing, and I hope you have some quiet and some comfort in your life right now, because we can all use that, right? Okay, take care. Love you guys. Bye.